Some stories whisper warnings from the past. Some artifacts are meant to stay buried. In Cairo's Egyptian Museum, Dr. Layla Hassan has already stared too long into a mirror that was never meant for the living. What she doesn't know is that the mirror has already chosen her, and it doesn't let go. The morning after her first encounter, Layla tried to convince herself it was exhaustion, hallucination brought on by stress and too many sleepless nights. She locked the mirror away in a storage vault, her hands trembling as she turned the key. But as she walked through the museum's corridors, she swore she heard whispers echoing through the limestone walls, a language she didn't know, yet somehow understood. Ancient words slithered through her mind, promising power, demanding sacrifice. When she blinked, her reflection in a nearby display case didn't move with her. It stood still, lips parted in a silent chant. Layla stumbled back, her heart pounding. She rubbed her eyes, willing the vision away. But when she looked again, her reflection remained frozen, eyes dark and hungry. By the end of the day, she could no longer tell where her shadow ended, and the mirrors began. At night, she dreamed of corridors lined with burning torches. Ancient priests stood around her, their faces hidden beneath jackal masks, their hands cold as they pressed linen against her skin. The scent of myrrh and natron filled her nostrils, choking her. She tried to scream, but her voice was swallowed by the endless darkness of the tomb. When she woke, faint lines of linen were imprinted across her arms, red and raw like burns. Panic clawed at her throat as she traced the marks with trembling fingers. She rushed to cover them with her sleeves, but she knew the process had begun. The mirror wasn't showing her possibilities. It was dictating her fate. Her colleagues noticed her pale skin, her distracted eyes. "Layla, are you all right?" one asked, concern etched across his face. She only smiled faintly, because even her voice no longer sounded like her own. It was deeper now, ancient and hollow, as if echoing from the depths of a sarcophagus. By the third night, the mirror no longer needed her to look into it. Every polished surface in the museum became a doorway. Brass doorknobs shimmered with her dead reflection. Glass cases rippled when she passed, showing her body bound in linen. Layla's world became a nightmare of endless reflections, each one pulling her deeper into a realm she couldn't escape. And once, in the darkened staff bathroom, her reflection turned its head without her. Its glassy eyes stared, lips curling into a grin that did not belong to her. Layla screamed, her fist connecting with the mirror before she could stop herself. She smashed the mirror above the sink, but the shards only multiplied the image. Hundreds of Laylas stared back, each one with bandaged skin and lifeless eyes. Blood dripped from her knuckles, mingling with the broken glass. But even as she watched, the mirror began to reform, shards sliding back into place like a macabre puzzle. Layla fled, her heart pounding, knowing that no matter where she ran, the mirror would find her. The black mirror itself began to change. The cracks in its surface bled with shadows, pulsing like veins beneath ancient skin. One night, when Layla entered the vault, drawn by an irresistible force, she wasn't alone. A figure stood behind the mirror's glass, robed in ancient linen, a golden mask gleaming in the torchlight of a world that wasn't hers. It raised its hand and she felt her chest tighten, her breath shallow, her lungs filled with the scent of embalming oils. She stumbled backward, but her feet didn't move. The mirror's surface rippled, and she felt fingers press against the other side. Not just a reflection, a door. Layla's mind reeled, torn between two realities. In one, she stood in the cold vault of the museum. In the other, she felt the heat of torches, heard the chanting of priests. The boundary between worlds blurred, and she no longer knew which was real. The museum cameras caught nothing unusual, only a woman standing still before an artifact. But in her mind, in her soul, Layla was no longer in Cairo. She lay on a stone slab, priests chanting around her. They placed jars beside her body, jars she knew contained her lungs, her liver, her heart. The weight of millennia pressed down upon her, crushing her beneath the inevitability of her fate. She tried to scream, but her mouth was filled with ash. The golden-masked priest leaned close, his voice deep as the Nile itself. The mirror does not show, the mirror takes, and tonight it remembers you. The words echoed through her very being, sealing her doom. Layla fought against the invisible bonds that held her, but her strength was fading. She could feel herself being pulled into the mirror, her essence unraveling like thread from a spool. The world around her blurred, reality and nightmare merging into a terrifying new existence. The next morning, her colleagues arrived to find her office empty. The black mirror sat in its crate, sealed as if untouched, but her security badge was still inside. Her notebook lay open on the desk. The last line, scrawled in frantic handwriting, read, "It's not my reflection anymore. It's waiting to step out." The museum staff searched for Layla, their worry growing with each passing hour. Security footage showed her entering the vault, but never leaving. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. Some whispered of foul play, others of a mental breakdown, but none could explain the faint scent of embalming oils that lingered in the air, or the way the shadows seemed to move when no one was looking. Weeks later, the museum prepared a new exhibit, Unseen Treasures of the Tombs. Among the artifacts was the strange black mirror, now polished to a shine. The curator hesitated before including it, remembering Layla's obsession. But in the end, the allure of the mysterious artifact was too great to ignore. Visitors gathered around, admiring its eerie beauty. Some swore they saw something, a figure in the glass, pale and still. Children pointed, asking their parents about the lady in the mirror. But when adults looked, they saw only their own reflections, distorted and dark. And if you looked long enough, you could see her, Dr. Layla Hassan, her eyes open, her lips stitched shut, still staring back, still waiting, trapped for eternity in a world of endless reflections. A cautionary tale for those who dare to look too deeply into the past. The mirror never reflects, it collects. For every gaze, a soul. For every whisper, a life. And though some artifacts are locked away in museums, their hunger is never contained. They wait patiently, biding their time until the next unsuspecting victim peers into their depths. So if you ever find yourself staring into a mirror that doesn't quite move with you, step away before it's too late. Because what stares back might not let you go. The ancient powers that slumber in forgotten tombs and hidden chambers are always watching, always hungry. And in the end, we are all just reflections, waiting to be claimed by the darkness that lurks behind the glass. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that story. If you did, please subscribe Dark Whisper AI. Leave a comment. The next episode will be up soon, don't miss. Goodbye.